What if the most important discovery in human history did not arrive with the thunder of warships, massive explosions, or an official announcement from world leaders, but instead appeared quietly as a single flickering reading on a monitor deep inside a telescope control center? High above the Pacific Ocean, the Monarch Observatory in Hawaii stood in complete silence on the edge of a dormant volcano, staring into the deepest reaches of space. Suddenly, that silence ended forever. A senior technician working with the James Webb Space Telescope noticed an impossible anomaly within the instrument's mid-infrared sensors. At first glance, it appeared to be a routine calibration error, the kind of technical glitch engineers usually reset and ignore. But this signal refused to disappear. During a standard deep-field survey near the constellation Ophiuchus, the telescope crossed paths with an interstellar visitor known as 3IATLAS. Within seconds, the observatory's automated system flagged a Level 3 anomaly, a classification reserved exclusively for physical phenomena that should never occur under the known laws of nature. The first warning originated from the onboard spectrometer. It detected massive concentrations of complex organic molecules inside the object. These were not the standard hydrocarbons commonly found drifting inside ordinary comets. Scientists identified chiral amino acids arranged in distinct, repeating patterns that demonstrated deliberate organization rather than chemical randomness. Nature can create immense chemical complexity, but unguided environmental processes inevitably leave irregular, chaotic signatures. This data looked organized, structured, and almost intentional. Then the thermal sensors reported something even more disturbing. As 3IATLAS moved further away from the sun, the temperature at its core began increasing instead of cooling down. According to everything modern physics understands about thermodynamics, that behavior should have been completely impossible. Yet, row after row of telemetry data kept confirming the exact same result. Minutes later, sensors detected faint pulses of bioluminescent light flickering deep within the porous body of the object. The pulses followed a steady, rhythmic cycle, functioning almost like the heartbeat of a living organism hidden beneath dense layers of ice and rock. At nearly the same time, sensitive gravitational instruments aboard the Gaia spacecraft detected localized spatial distortions forming around the visitor itself. The object was not simply carrying mass through the solar system. It appeared to be actively bending the surrounding fabric of space-time around its outer shell. Inside a high-security analysis laboratory, astrophysicists stared at the raw data while running calibration checks over and over again. Every result returned identical numbers. One veteran scientist sat frozen in silence as his coffee grew cold beside him, realizing that the object entering our solar system was not dead debris from a destroyed star system. It was something alive, and that realization changed the world in an instant. For decades, humanity believed that life could only exist under very narrow physical conditions: a stable terrestrial planet, liquid water, a warm star, and the delicate balance known as the Goldilocks zone. But 3IATLAS shattered those long-standing assumptions in a matter of hours. According to several theoretical physicists studying the telemetry, this object represented a completely different paradigm of existence, one capable of surviving and thriving directly inside the harsh vacuum of deep space. Instead of relying on oxygen, organic consumption, or stellar light, it appeared to draw energy directly from zero-point energy fields, the invisible power source existing throughout empty space itself. The deeper scientists looked into the incoming data, the stranger the physical evidence became. Every time the object emitted a bioluminescent pulse, neutrino detectors at the Ice Cube Observatory in Antarctica recorded simultaneous energy bursts with exact microsecond timing. Some researchers proposed a terrifying possibility. 3IATLAS might be communicating across higher dimensions using quantum entanglement, sending structural messages across light years without waiting for speed-of-light propagation delays. The object also appeared to generate a powerful protective boundary around itself by extruding magnetic fields from its internal core, creating a superconducting shield capable of defending whatever existed inside from the lethal radiation of interstellar space. Astronomers completely abandoned calling it a comet. Some referred to it as a quantum fortress, while others described it as a self-contained biological machine unlike anything human science had ever conceived. Then another shocking detail emerged from the observational data. The surface albedo of 3IATLAS suddenly increased as it approached the orbit of Mars. Its reflectivity altered dramatically, but not through any known mineral reaction. Researchers concluded that the entity was undergoing a violent metabolic reaction, absorbing high-energy particles from the solar wind and converting them into exotic states of matter. In other words, the closer it moved toward the inner solar system, the more active its internal systems became. This forced researchers to confront a terrifying possibility. Humanity was not watching a passive alien microbe drifting through space. We were observing the direct technology of a Type 3 civilization, an advanced intelligence capable of manipulating stellar energy, space-time curvature, and dimensional mechanics at will. Through the theoretical framework of string theory, biology and physics no longer functioned as separate disciplines. Inside 3IATLAS, they appeared merged into a single operational system. Then came the discovery that pushed the scientific community into absolute panic. Deep inside the icy mantle of the object, high-resolution scans revealed internal geodesic chambers where the laws of physics themselves appeared slightly altered. Tiny regions existed where gravity fluctuated independently and electromagnetic behavior changed unpredictably, functioning less like a standard spacecraft and more like a miniature, self-sustaining universe designed to preserve living systems across vast cosmic distances. The moment scientists realized that 3IATLAS was actively sending structured signals, the atmosphere inside Mission Control transformed instantly. Until that moment, researchers had tried to explain the object as an extremely rare but natural astronomical event, perhaps an exotic energy source or a state of matter humanity had never encountered before. But deliberate communication changed everything. Unguided cosmic objects do not emit organized numerical patterns, and unguided organic chemistry does not produce repeating structural signals with precise timing. Whatever was moving through our solar system was no longer behaving like an inanimate object. It was displaying obvious signs of higher intelligence. As fresh telemetry poured in from space telescopes, analytical teams focused their attention on the bioluminescent pulses flickering inside the object's porous structure. At first glance, the flashes looked like natural biological activity, similar to the rhythmic bioluminescence of deep-sea organisms on Earth. But after hours of computational analysis, researchers uncovered something extraordinary. The exact intervals between each flash were mathematically structured. Prime number sequences began appearing in the data, followed by repeating geometric ratios. This was not random biological noise. It was compressed information. Inside secure research facilities connected to observatories around the world, teams of theoretical physicists, computational linguists, and advanced artificial intelligence models worked together around the clock to decode the incoming transmissions. The signals grew increasingly complex over time. At first, they carried elementary mathematical constants, but soon evolved into intricate, multi-layered data structures that resembled a universal language built directly from the fundamental laws of physics. Some scientists compared it to an advanced species teaching basic mathematics to a child before introducing complex dimensional concepts. The transmission appeared carefully engineered for any intelligent species capable of recognizing patterns in nature. Then another massive breakthrough arrived from the Deep Space Network tracking station in Madrid. The chiral amino acids detected earlier within the tail of 3IATLAS were no longer simply drifting as isolated molecules. Under open vacuum conditions that should have instantly destroyed any biological structure, the molecules were actively self-assembling into larger macromolecular networks. Scientists watched in absolute disbelief as the object built complex organic structures in real time without needing an atmosphere, liquid water, or planetary ground. It was biological life expanding directly in open space. That discovery completely upended the foundational principles of terrestrial biology, proving that life, in its most advanced state, does not require planets at all. According to advanced theoretical models, the object contained an internal quantum replication engine capable of generating brand new biomass every 23 seconds. Energy surges rippled through the structure like a steady heartbeat, while gravitational readings shifted in perfect synchronization with each pulse cycle. As observational data continued to accumulate, the situation took an even more unsettling turn. Shortly after the latest molecular scans were finalized, deep space radio observatories detected a focused, highly coherent beam emerging directly from the core of 3IATLAS. Unlike previous omnidirectional emissions, this beam was tightly directional and targeted precisely toward Earth's L1 Lagrange point, the gravitationally stable region between Earth and the Sun where major satellite systems operate. Scientists stared at the targeting coordinates in complete silence. This was not an accident. It was an intentional spatial alignment. Researchers quickly realized the object was attempting to calibrate its internal operational cycles with Earth's orbital movement, an event one physicist described as an interstellar handshake and another called the opening stage of dimensional contact. The entity possessed complete awareness of Earth's position in space. Shortly after, the James Webb Space Telescope delivered another mind-bending discovery. Within the gaseous shroud surrounding 3IATLAS, optical instruments detected localized time dilation fields. Inside these microregions, time moved approximately 0.005% slower compared to the surrounding environment. While the metric difference seemed tiny, it confirmed that general relativity was actively being manipulated around the vessel. Scientists proposed that the life forms inside 3IATLAS were using controlled space-time distortions as a temporal stasis field, keeping sensitive biological components preserved across interstellar travel. Humanity was no longer looking at simple alien biology. This was hyper-advanced dimensional engineering woven directly into a living ecosystem. The signals continued to evolve rapidly. The bioluminescent flashes were no longer simple pulses, but dense streams carrying massive amounts of compressed data. Preliminary decryption attempts suggested the object was broadcasting historical archives, physical principles, and cultural records from an ancient origin. Then came the moment that truly alarmed global security teams. Unnoticed during routine tracking, 3IATLAS had executed a sudden trajectory shift while passing through the outer solar system. The maneuver appeared physically impossible because the acceleration forces involved should have obliterated any physical vessel instantly. However, after reanalyzing the telemetry, scientists discovered that the object had temporarily altered its effective mass by manipulating the Higgs field itself, reducing its inertia close to zero before executing the turn. Humanity had just witnessed technology capable of altering the fundamental laws of motion. Panic escalated even further when genetic algorithms analyzing microscopic particles trailing behind 3IATLAS identified a repeating mathematical code. When mapped against genetic databases, researchers discovered that this alien sequence matched non-coding regions buried deep inside human DNA. The discovery of matching structural sequences between 3IATLAS and the human genome sent shockwaves through every classified research installation monitoring the event. Until that moment, scientists had been focused exclusively on understanding what the object was made of and where it came from. But now, the core question had shifted entirely. The intricate numerical code discovered inside the trailing space debris matched segments of human DNA long dismissed by geneticists as non-coding junk sequences. For decades, science could not explain the purpose of these vast non-coding regions in our genome. But the incoming signals from 3IATLAS processed those exact sequences as functional templates tied to higher dimensional biological systems. One researcher described it as finding hidden lines of operational code embedded within the genetic structure of humanity itself. The implications were immense and terrifying. If the analytical models were accurate, humanity's connection to 3IATLAS was not a random coincidence. It raised a profound possibility that many researchers hesitated to voice publicly. Human life on Earth may have been intentionally seeded, guided, or engineered by interstellar biological platforms in the distant past. The concept of directed panspermia, long treated as speculative science, suddenly became the primary working theory. Instead of life emerging strictly as an isolated anomaly on Earth, complex biological templates may be actively distributed across galaxy clusters via living starships like 3IATLAS. Telemetry confirmed that as the object drew closer to Earth, its activity accelerated dramatically. The 23-second pulse cycle grew stronger and more synchronized, generating matching electromagnetic harmonics throughout Earth's upper ionosphere. Global satellite networks detected faint energy waves wrapping around the planet in perfect harmony with the visitor's internal pulse. Earth's atmosphere was actively responding to the visitor. Shortly after, the Goldstone Deep Space Communications Complex confirmed a state of quantum resonance between 3IATLAS and Earth's planetary magnetic field. The object was not merely sending radio signals across space, it was turning our entire planet into an amplified relay node for its broadcast network. The entity used space-time itself as its transmission medium, manipulating gravity fields, neutrino emissions, and electromagnetic frequencies simultaneously. The decoded transmissions revealed detailed equations for generating stable microscopic wormholes through controlled gravitational harmonics, alongside principles explaining how advanced civilizations eventually phase out mechanical machinery entirely, evolving their technology directly into living biological forms. 3IATLAS was not carrying crew members. The vessel itself was the living intelligence. Observational readings showed expanding spatial distortions around 3IATLAS as it constructed a permanent dimensional corridor, connecting our solar system into an ancient galactic transit network. Artificial intelligence models analyzing the incoming data stream finally isolated a recurring semantic concept translated into human language as the convergence. The arrival of 3IATLAS was not an accidental encounter, but a scheduled evolutionary milestone. The convergence represented the definitive transition point where a civilization's biology, technology, and space-time engineering merge into a single, unified state of existence. The data streams presented quantum mechanics, organic growth, and gravitational forces as interconnected components of one master architecture woven into the fabric of reality. Detailed scans of the object's core revealed crystalline lattice structures extending into spatial dimensions far beyond normal three-dimensional perception, proving that the physical form of 3IATLAS observed by our telescopes was merely a tiny cross-section of a much larger entity existing across multiple dimensions. As the spatial corridor fully stabilized across millions of kilometers, Earth's technology fell into perfect phase alignment with the entity. Atomic clocks, global communications, networks, and supercomputing centers worldwide recorded precise synchronization with the 23-second pulse rhythm. Through this newly opened doorway, vast repositories of ancient cosmic knowledge began pouring directly into human data systems, granting our species access to vast amounts of accumulated galactic history. Humanity had officially crossed the threshold from an isolated planetary existence into a vast, interconnected cosmic community, forever altering our understanding of life, space, and our ultimate place in the universe. If you found this deep dive into the 3IATLAS anomaly fascinating and want to follow every new development as we decode the final archives of the convergence, make sure to hit the subscribe button right now, turn on all post notifications, and drop a comment below sharing your thoughts on what this discovery means for the future of human civilization.